Today we're looking at Emirate Xaaron and Autobot Flame on Where I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Where I Got It Figured, back with another Transformers Generations review. This time we're looking at the 40th anniversary comic series, Emirate Xaaron and Autobot Flame pack. Emirate Xaaron is a character who was influential on the Marvel UK side of the comic book universe, but he was eventually brought on into the American side when Simon Furman began writing Transformers in the American series as well. I didn't really get to read too many Marvel UK comics when I was a kid, but Xaaron did make an impression as like kind of an Autobot leader who was sort of in command of what was going on Cybertron, and he ends up having a unfortunate encounter with Galvatron. But the character was cool because he was someone outside of the toys. You know, he wasn't on the show, he wasn't on toys, he was a comic only character, and he's finally getting a figure. And so, just out of that comic book series nostalgia, of course, I had to have him, and he isn't the last one. So we're going to take a look at Xaaron and Flame, get them out of the package, compare them with some other figures, look at them in both modes, and get you out of here with some final thoughts. Starting with the packaging, of course, you have one of the classic covers with the Wreckers in the grip of Flame, Springer, Broadside, Ultra Magnus, and Xaaron. Rodimus there. We've got Flame and Xaaron on the side. You got your renders of the figures on the back. Some panels in black and white. And the front again. And then take a look at them on the inside. You got your figures there. Get some better light on them here real quick. And you got some text, which I'm going to have to pick the box up to read real fast. Emirate Xaaron leads the Autobot underground resistance movement. He is an inspiration for the Autobot cause, and many would lay their sparks on the line for him. Flame has lost his distinguished reputation as a scientist. He is determined to carry out his master plan no matter the cost. What Flame's master plan was to continue Megatron's plan to use it to use Cybertron as a kind of a cosmic dreadnought, a giant spaceship planet would fly through space or whatever to do whatever. They did some interesting things in Marvel UK. Certainly some more ambitious things perhaps than what you got for the most part in the American version of the comic book. And I didn't really get to read Flame too much. Mostly in Last Stand of the Wreckers, there's something about him in there. But Xaaron is a little bit more storied, in my reading. So we're going to get these guys out, check them out, see what we can see. All right, we've got our 2-pack out of the package. Emirate Xaaron and Autobot Flame. And they come with some accessories. Emirate Xaaron is a retool of the Siege reflector figure. They've also retooled reflector into the toy reflector with Spectro, Spyglass, and Viewfinder. I never actually got around to buying that one, but It's a cool figure. It was always a cool figure. Different customization options and everything like that. And of course, if you want to, I guess you could turn him to a camera piece too, if you really want to do that. Probably not going to do that in this video, but you know, that's the base mode. Now, the chest is different. Of course, the head is different, but the guts of the figure is mostly the same. He's a retool. Then you have Autobot Flame, who is a retool of the Gamer Edition Studio Series Voyager class Megatron. And you know, I think they did a really good job with that. Certainly a way to get me to buy Gamer Editions figures. You know, I don't usually get those, but they changed him into a G1 character. And you know, I can't think of really a better figure to use for Flame. In this case, he turns into a tank, so kind of works. They both do, as we'll see in a bit. Looking at Emirate Xaaron up front. You know, of course, the comic book packs have a little bit of styling on them to show sort of ink slashes. But Xaaron is looking pretty cool, looking pretty comic accurate. I do find it interesting that he is an Autobot, but he does not wear an Auto brand. He didn't in the comic book, so of course it's appropriate here. And moving over to Flame, while he doesn't have any sort of historical precedent, the head sculpt is really cool, and the figure is, you know, pretty decent figure. The orange and red, yellow, and the crest reminds me of Hot Rod, even though, you know, he's not Hot Rod. And it's sort of giving me a story idea, so perhaps more on that later. But you know, he looks good. He has tight joints, pretty good posability as well. Again, since I don't get the Gamer Edition figures, you know, I don't really mess with them. Haven't handled them, but he has ankle pivots and all of that stuff, and he looks good. Not too much kibble. Got a port on the back, so you know, I think he's pretty decent. So for accessories, we'll start with Flame since he has just the one. He's got kind of a fusion cannon-esque type weapon. I guess this was the fusion cannon for Megatron, but for him it's just sort of like the cannon for his tank mode. Emirate Xaaron is the one with the most accessories. So he has a shield or a backpack that becomes the turret of the tank. The gun for the tank mode. And then he's got treads that you stick on his legs. And of course I'll do that. Just a little bit of parts forming there. We'll get these guys geared up. Be right back. All right, so going over these guys with their gear real quick. We've got Emirate Xaaron first up. And, you know, he looks cool with his accessories, even if they're not accurate. You got your little tank turret on the back. You stick the gun in there, but it would look kind of ridiculous if you know, put it in his back like that. So we went with the kind of arm gun. And Flame, of course, has the tank barrel fusion cannon from the Gamer Edition Studio Series Megatron. He didn't really have a gun either, but you know, you got to give the figure something. Now let's take a look at these guys in vehicle mode. Okay, so we got Flame and Emirate Xaaron in their vehicle modes. Both of them turn into different types of Cybertronic tanks. Flame, of course, is a direct transfer of the Gamer Edition Megatron, and Emirate Xaaron is a kludge from the uh, refractor mode. Refractor, I guess they call them in Siege. Reflector. And hilariously, Emirate Xaaron in the comic book hadn't transformed so long that he thought it would kill him if he did, so he never did. But it's nice that we got a kind of an alt mode for him, because you never got to see that in G1. So just to go over them just real quick, Gamer Edition Megatron is sort of a weird hover tank kind of a deal. And Emirate Xaaron is sort of kludged into a tank. You can turn the turrets, but they can't shoot up. They are limited in that regard. But not a whole lot to go over there. Just wanted to make sure you get to see them in alt mode. We're going to get them transformed back and do some comparisons. All right, so starting off with comparisons, we've got Flame with the Fans Choice Decepticon Impactor, or also known as IDW Impactor. Here they are with Siege Sideswipe. Last but not least, here he is with Earthrise Optimus Prime. So that'll do it for comparisons. We'll move on now to final thoughts. Final thoughts on Transformers 40th Anniversary Comic Edition, Emirate Xaaron and Autobot Flame. I really like both of these figures. I like that they're sort of inspired retools. Flame coming from a Megatron figure that I probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and Emirate Xaaron from a refractor figure that I already had, but it's like definitely a really cool reuse of that figure. Emirate Xaaron, as I said in the beginning, is kind of a sentimental character from being in the G1 comic book back in the day. And even though I didn't get to read the story with Flame when I was a kid because it was Marvel UK, I did read it later. And I just think it's cool to have these guys in your mainline collection. I don't usually give repaints. I don't want to give repaints or retools a bad name or anything, because that's kind of the name of the game anymore. I think this set's probably like a 9 set for me. You know, Flame is almost sans any like comic book shading. Emirate Xaaron has a lot more shading, and it's not that I mind the shading, but I do notice it. But I'm not gonna like remove it or anything. I'm good enough with it as it is. But I would think that I'd almost think they were almost perfect without it. It's basically what I'm getting at. So I'm gonna say 9. Well, I got a figure rank 9 out of 10. Thanks you guys for watching and supporting the channel. We're still trying to deliver all the content we can, action figure wise, Transformers wise, and we ain't going nowhere. I should mention that I recently discovered that I have a eye ailment. I have a cataract on my right eye. It's going to require surgery to remove. So I still have one eye that works fine. I would like to think that I'm going to keep doing videos, even if I have to wear an eye patch on one eye for a while. But we'll see what happens. If content drops off in a week or so, maybe I'll do a video to say, hey, look, I got to wait for my eye to heal. But it's definitely a correctable issue, but it is also an issue that has to get corrected. So that's going to be what's going on in my neck of the woods. But I have no fear. We'll be back. We'll be around. We're not going anywhere. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Once again, thanks for the support. Got more Transformers content coming. Happy collecting. Everybody stay safe. Peace.
The way I got it figured.